Kickoff is just around the corner, and these are my best PrizePicks season plays for the 2024 college football season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. We're brought to you by our friends over at PrizePicks. Guys, go to PrizePicks.com. Use promo code SECU at sign up to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 or more lineup. Again, guys, that's PrizePicks.com. Promo code SECU to get your $50 bonus today. Kickoff for the 2024 college football season is just around the corner, and these are my best PrizePicks season plays entering the 2024 season. And before we get going, guys, let me give you a heads up. This is something we're going to be doing on a weekly basis when it comes to best plays via our friends over at PrizePicks. Of course, many of you are probably well aware PrizePicks is the sponsor for our SEC Unfiltered Tour this season, which will take us all across the SEC. Of course, we're starting week 1 in Gainesville, Florida at Florida Miami. We've got some other dates that are in the works right now, but virtually every single weekend of this season we'll be hitting a different game thanks to our friends at PrizePicks. So, PrizePicks, talking about these different props, these different numbers, it'll be a large part of our content on a weekly basis. And I figure, why not? Let's get things rolling in style and talk some season plays, because PrizePicks does have some totals for the entire season. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. I'll start with Jackson Dart, the quarterback for Ole Miss. And now let me also preface and say, some of these numbers may have shifted ever so slightly, because obviously as money comes in one side or the other, you could see the numbers go up or down. It's just like any other gambling lines. But as of today, these are the numbers, and this is what I feel really, really good about. By the way, on PrizePicks, you make your lineup. I like these totals. I like these plays. However you want to divvy them up, however you want to put them in your lineup, these are all individual plays that I love. You can put 2 or 3 or 4 of these together, however you want to shake it up. I feel good about each and every single one of them. So again, starting with Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart. Guys, that's going to be one of the best offenses in college football. His over-under passing yards total for the 2024 season, brace yourselves, is 3,024 and a half passing yards. Trey Harris, Jordan Watkins, Juice Wells, Caden Prescorn, amongst a host of others. By the way, no more Quinshon Judkins. And I like Ulysses Bentley, but they are going to be throwing it all over the yard this season. And if Ole Miss is going to be what I think many of us expect, which is a college football playoff team, at minimum a college football playoff contender, Jackson Dart, guys, is easily smashing this over. I think it's more likely, guys, he throws for 4,000 yards than goes under this total. 3,024 and a half passing yards. Depending how long they keep him in the first 4 or 5 games of the season, like if he plays the second half against Furman, against Middle Tennessee State, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern, all due respect to those teams, guys, he could have half of this through the first 4 games of the season. So I love Jackson Dart on the over, 3,024 and a half passing yards. I feel like that's stealing, honestly. Let's stick on the offensive side of the football. Go to LSU's Kiron Lacy. His over-under on the season, 849 and a half receiving yards. LSU's going to run the football more, so this one could be a little bit tricky. That being said, I love Kiron Lacy on the over here. 849 and a half is what you're giving me. They're still going to throw the football with Garrett Nussmeier. Kiron Lacy is the wide receiver 1, replacing Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. Again, Caleb Jackson, the running back, they're going to run the football. They're going to be more balanced, no doubt. But I still expect this LSU offense to be full of fireworks. I think Kiron Lacy is going to be that guy when you're talking about explosive plays, down the field shots, it's going to be Kiron Lacy, in my opinion. So, Kiron Lacy over 849.5 receiving yards. Let's go to Gavin Saltchuk, the running back at Oklahoma. Over under 925.5 rushing yards. Guys, here's my thing. And I think Oklahoma is going to run the football, right? You don't want to put it all on Jackson Arnold to make him throw, every single play, right? I don't see that being a 60-40 pass to run offense necessarily, although they've got the weapons on the outside to do it. We know about the offensive line issues. And I've just always felt like, guys, like you can't cheap your way to 1,000 rushing yards, right? It takes, you need to have maybe it doesn't have to be top tier, but in the SEC, you got to have at minimum a top half of the league offensive line. You are not cheapening your way to 1,000 rushing yards. And so that's essentially, it's 925.5, but is Gavin Saltchuk going to be knocking on the door of 1,000 rushing yards? And it's no knock on Saltchuk. Guys, I just don't think he's got the blocking up front to do so. 5 new starters on the offensive line. Even if they're better than expected, they're probably average. It's just, even if they're better than expected, this group is probably average. So again, it's no knock on Gavin Saltchuk. I think there's also going to be an emphasis on the passing game. Not saying again that Oklahoma is going to be 60-40. I don't think they want to put that all on Jackson Arnold, but with the weapons on the outside, I actually think it's more likely that Oklahoma becomes somewhat of a pass-happy or at least pass-heavy offense than becomes run-heavy. Because with the defensive fronts Oklahoma's going to face in the SEC, it's going to be tough sledding at times running the football. So Gavin Saltchuk under 925.5 rushing yards. Let's go to Texas. Quarterback Quinn Ewers. Again, guys, I love our friends at PrizePicks, but some of these numbers are flat out stealing. Quinn Ewers over under passing yards total. 3,024.5. Yeah, same exact total as Jackson Dart. And just like Jackson Dart, I think he's going to smash the over. The only way that this doesn't happen, and knock on wood, the only way is if Quinn Ewers is missing a couple games due to injury. That is literally the only way. Especially when you factor in C.J. Baxter down with the injury. You've had a couple injuries at the running back position. It's going to put even more pressure on Quinn Ewers to show up and ball out. And they've got the wide receivers. They've got the weapons. I know you lose a lot, but you replace them with guys like Isaiah Bond, Silas Bolden, who's a playmaker not enough people are talking about, Amari Nyblack at tight end. Like, they've got some dudes. And there's guys I'm not even mentioning. They've got some dudes, right? Quinn Ewers over 3,024.5. I said it for Jackson Dart, guys. I'll say it again. I think it's more likely Quinn Ewers leads the SEC in passing yards than goes under this 3,024.5 passing yard total. So, Quinn Ewers hammer that over. Guys, let's go to wide receiver Luther Burton at Missouri. One of the best wide receivers, not just in the SEC, but all of college football. Now, this is one we actually saw a lot of movement on this number because this number, guys, opened up at Luther Burton, I think at 999.5 receiving yards. So essentially, do you think Luther Burton is going to have a 1,000-yard season? The supporting cast is great. Theo Weiss is a guy that, if teams are trying to take away Luther Burton, certainly Theo Weiss, I think, is a guy. I think he's the most underrated wide receiver, too, in the SEC. Doesn't get talked about enough for what he does. The number now for Luther Burton is 1,074.5 receiving yards. Guys, I don't care. Luther Burton's going over. This dude is the most electric playmaker, in my opinion, in the SEC. And now he's got Brady Cook, a confident Brady Cook, right? Last year was kind of, we didn't know what to get out of, or what we're going to get out of Brady Cook. Now, Brady Cook's feeling himself, feeling good. I think they're going to have balance in the run game because I do think Marcus Carroll, Nate Noel, who we're going to get into in just a second, by the way, I think those guys they're not going to be Cody Schrader, but I think there's going to be enough of a run game to have balance. The offensive line is in place. And I think especially guys with Mizzou's schedule, like they've got teams on their schedule, they're going to be able to take advantage of it. Guys, we saw last year, even when you make stopping Luther Burton a priority, what does that mean? Like what? Good luck. Good luck. So Luther Burton, I love the number at 999.5. Loved it because Luther Burton not being a 1,000-yard receiver, it ain't going to happen. Does he get another 75 yards? Guys, I say so. So Luther Burton, Mizzou wide receiver, over 1,074.5 receiving yards. Let's go. Let's stick with Mizzou, guys. Running back Marcus Carroll. And this is one that, this is why it's beneficial, guys, especially from the gambling perspective, or even when you're breaking down games. It's beneficial to talk to those who cover the team on a day in, day out basis. They're close to the team. They see everything. They know what's going on. Because the conversation's been all preseason, all offseason. Marcus Carroll or Nate Noel. Marcus Carroll, the Georgia State transfer. Nate Noel, the Appalachian State transfer. Who's going to be RB1? How are they going to divvy up carries? And you look at this rushing yards total for Marcus Carroll, guys. 800.5. Based off the Missouri people I've talked to, which, again, these are people that would know, Nate Noel is going to be RB1 when the season gets going. He's going to be the number one back. Are they going to divvy up carries? I'm sure they are. But as an RB2, you're asking an RB2 to get 800.5 rushing yards? Guys, I just don't think he's going to get enough carries. Not as the second string guy. And I think that number, Marcus Carroll's number, is put there because, I think this guy was 1,000-yard back, if I recall correctly, at Georgia State. So it's no knock on Marcus Carroll, but if you're RB2, you're just not going to be getting enough carries to hit this number. If their RB2 is rushing for 800 yards or more, that offense is going to be maybe the best in college football, because that means Nate Noel might have went for 1,000. Are they going to rush for 2,000 yards as a team, guys? I don't know. I don't see it. So Marcus Carroll under 800.5 rushing yards, just because from what we've been told, Marcus Carroll is going to be RB2. And I just don't see the RB2 for Mizzou getting over 800 rushing yards. And my final play heading into the season, Mississippi State quarterback Blake Shapen, his over-under passing yards total, 2,474.5 passing yards. Listen, guys, I don't think Mississippi State's going to be very good this year. I've literally got them 4-8, 0-8 in conference. But you know what one thing they're going to do is, and they're going to do well? They're going to throw the football. Jeff Lebby's offense, again, I think a lot of this is people just look at Mississippi State, say they're going to be terrible, and I get it. I get it. But 2,474, we have to hit 2,475 passing yards to hit this over in a Jeff Lebby offense? And Blake Shapen's no scrub, guys. He was all Big 12 at one point. And he's got Kelly Akari on the outside. I'm just saying, man, it's going to be a pass-heavy offense. I fully expect, even if Mississippi State is not good, Blake Shapen to crush this over. Because, again, they're going to throw the football endlessly because their defense isn't going to be all that great. Probably isn't going to be good. They're going to have to compete in shootouts. They're just going to have to. So I think that means you're going to see a lot of Blake Shapen pushing the football downfield, a lot of Jeff Lebby's hurry-up offense, spread offense. They're going to pitch it all over the yard, and they're going to easily hit this over 2,474.5 passing yards. So, guys, again, my PrizePicks season plays entering the 2024 season. Jackson Dart over 3,024.5 passing yards. Kiron Lacy over 849.5 receiving yards. Gavin Saltchuk under 925.5 rushing yards. Quinn Yates over 3,024.5 passing yards. Luther Burton over 1,074.5 receiving yards. Marcus Carroll under 800.5 rushing yards. Blake Shapen over 2,474.5 passing yards. What are your favorite season plays over at PrizePicks? And remember, make sure when you go place your wager, you go place your plays, head over to PrizePicks.com, download the PrizePicks app, use promo code SECU at sign up, guys. You're going to get a $50 instant bonus when you play your first $5 or more lineups. I guess you play this lineup for $5, PrizePicks is putting $50 in your pocket just for playing. So, your thoughts on my list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your favorite plays on PrizePicks entering the 2024 season? Guys, it's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications. Check us out via podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we'll catch you on the other side.